Once a year, the poker world gathers in the same place. And they come for the same main event reward, the bracelet. At the halfway point, Brooklyn amateur Manoj Viswanathan leads a field of under 400.
Down for chips.
In this tournament, I have really nothing to lose. I'm on a huge life free roll.
Will he stumble like the previous chip leader?
Oh, you're saying he's bluffing on the river?
Or will he do what thousands could not? Whether you're an amateur,
You either have a hand or you don't have a hand.
pro,
I used to call my run good before the series.
or just kid poker with a dream.
We're like doing the duo, the comeback duo.
Here on day 5, you have a 1 in 378 chance of winning the main event. Welcome to the 2011 World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. We are halfway there. From a field of 6,865 players, just 378 remain.
Day 5, Rio. Let's do it.
Maybe the most important day of my whole poker career.
Ben Lamb with a confident walk.
When I walk like that, I'm trying to stay one step ahead of the creditors.
Feeling good. Focused.
Foreigners are having success, including Frenchman Guillaume Darcourt and German Max Heinzelmann.
I only got one move. I'm short stack, so it's going in.
This is the most fun I've ever had. I'm on a free roll in my mind. I'm playing with the house money.
Seems like it do some damage before the end of the day.
Amanda Musumeci leads the 6 remaining women.
How'd they get back here? You guys even found their secret entrance. It's crazy.
Daniel Negreanu and Eric Lindgren can't hide in the back alley forever. They'll look to chip up here on day 5. The players are taking their seats. There is your day 5 chip leader, Manoj Viswanathan. The amateur from Brooklyn, New York, has seemingly won every pot he's played.
32-year-old lawyer in his first main event. Why shouldn't he win it all?
There's one of the biggest stories of the main event. Sam Barnhart currently in 2nd place.
He's starting to have that Dennis Phillips look to him, Lon.
So Visma, German pros in the mix, Peyus Hines and our old friend Max Heinzelmann.
Sean Deebs at home with pocket aces, and Max Heinzelmann still here with ace-6 off.
For Viswanathan, some stats of caution. The best finish in the last 6 years for a day 5 chip leader was 25th place Greg Raymer back in 05.
Generally, when you play fast and aggressive, you know how to accumulate a lot of chips, but you also know how to deaccumulate them.
Everyone chasing that main event bracelet at the featured table in seat 9, Jean-Robert Belland.
Sometimes it's an excellent laydown, and sometimes it's an excellent main event for Jean-Robert.
But the headliner at this table, kid poker, Daniel Negreanu.
The last time he cashed in the main event was 5 years ago in 2006 when he finished 229th, looking for greener pastures this year.
And starting with a greener jacket, Daniel Negreanu under the gun with King Jack. And a raise to 22,000.
Oh, what was that?
That was Patrick Coughlin. Daniel is at a high point for his main event, 619,000 chips, folded over to Ralph Robinson, King 9 of spades.
Purple might be a new color for us. Robinson, an accountant, works for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta.
And he makes a call of 22,000. Belland folds his button. Mark Dallimore in the small blind.
Hell's Angels in town.
He folds. Robert Lipkin in the big blind lays it down. So 2 players, Negreanu with the stronger king.
Green versus purple. It's a colorful hand. Maybe Walt Disney is dealing.
Right here at the flop. Ace, trade 10, 2 spades. Daniel with a Broadway draw.
Daniel has struggled and grinded through this main event, never with too many chips, but he is thrilled to be here on day 5 with 60 big blinds.
Daniel putting some chips together, and he will bet 28,000. Robinson picked up the nut flush draw.
He cashed at a no-limit event earlier at this World Series, 58th in a field of 2,500. Of course, we started with 68-65 at this main event.
Robinson, not going anywhere, makes the call. Turn card, deuce of clubs. That misses both. Daniel nearly a 3-to-1 advantage now, and he checks. Robinson.
Oh, I like this. The 44-year-old amateur taking it to the 36-year-old superstar.
Yeah, there's a semi-bluff, 53,000. Daniel with a furrowed brow, and he lays his hand down.
Negreanu had nothing, and he gives Robinson credit for something. We give him credit for a bluff.
Daniel invested 50 grand before folding to Robinson.
Daniel left in a purple haze.
But still with the 2nd biggest stack at this table.
You know, the emotional swings of a guy watching the hand, it's like, I like Daniel so much.
and so I'm kind of anti-sweating him. It's like I'm anti-sweating him. And then
At the same token.
And at the same time, as soon as you lose the pot, I feel so terrible because I want to compete with you throughout, you know?
There will be no shortage of entertainment at our featured table tonight, but at some point, Norman, the levity must give way to the gravity of the event. With the field whittled down to fewer than 400, the players must focus on accumulating chips and equipping themselves for a shot at one of the 9 treasured seats at the final table.
What, you can't whistle while you work? You can't check raise with a smile? At our featured table tonight, 2 players who talk a good game, Daniel Negreanu and Jean-Robert Ballon, but that should not mask their steely determination to make a deep run. Either one would gladly not say another word if it guaranteed a final table seat, though something tells me if Daniel and Jean-Robert make the November 9, a single set of ears wouldn't be able to handle all the verbal commotion.
Well, Daniel with very little to smile about during this main event until his chip stack began growing recently. On the Jack Link's Beef Jerky Hole Cam, Daniel with Queen 10.
I've never liked Queen 10 off.
Daniel in the small blind has chips in hand. And he raises it up to 29,000 to the big blind. Rupert Elder, a 24-year-old poker pro from the UK with pocket 9s, and he makes the call.
He was the EPT champion at this year's San Remo event, defeated his friend and our friend, Max Heinzelman.
So the blind leading the blind to the flop. 5, 9, 6. Elder finds another 9 for a set.
Daniel's got Queen 10.
No piece of that flop. Daniel does bet 36,000.
Continuation bet from Daniel. He couldn't beat the purple golf shirt, so now he'll see if he can outmaneuver the white sweater, but the white sweater has him crushed.
So far, the green jacket not working well for Daniel Negreanu. A smooth call from Elder.
You know, a white sweater pretty much goes with anything, Ron.
Especially the air conditioning here. The jack gives Daniel an open-ended straight draw. And now 57,000 from Kid Poker.
Daniel's bluff turns into a semi-bluff, but according to my rank of hands, a semi-bluff does not beat a set of 9s.
Just a call from Elder.
He's got Daniel right where he wants him.
Another 5 on the river, and Elder fills up. But Daniel once again looking at his chip stack.
Yeah, it's gone from a bluff to a semi-bluff to what appears to be a full-scale bluffing mini blow-up for Daniel.
Negreanu continuing his line, a big stack of orange. That's 97,000. That's going to leave a mark.
Well, Daniel couldn't win it unless he bet at it, but he couldn't win it if he put Warren Buffett into this pot.
Elder with 9s full of 5s.
Elder knows only 2 hands can beat him, jacks full or quad 5s.
Elder, that's more than 97. That's a raise to 240, and Daniel quickly releases his hand.
He tosses in that Queen 10 like it was toxic.
So a nice pot for Rupert Elder, who now has the second biggest stack at this featured table. That one stung Negreanu as he gives up about 40% of his chips. You see there with his chip count, Daniel had a better than average chip stack a few minutes ago. Now he's more than 200,000 below that benchmark. 370 players remaining to the outer tables in the white hat. Kyle Johnson with pocket 10s and 2 all-ins in front of him. John Moore on the left just shoved with pocket queens after Mars Callahan in black did likewise with aces. Johnson has them both covered.
Johnson stuck in the middle with the worst pocket pair. It's a 22-year-old Canadian semi-pro.
And certainly struggling with this decision.
Callahan's a Hollywood guy, writer, producer, director. Actually, he was a child actor. Now he's a child adult. I believe Mars makes faces when he has pocket aces.
Johnson knows this is a big moment. He does fold, which leaves Callahan at risk with aces.
We turn him over now?
Yes, thank you. It's so sick.
Aces against queens. Callahan ahead, but at risk.
All in.
John Moore's pocket queens run into Mars aces with faces.
The flop, 6-8-6. The aces are holding up so far.
Yeah. Cool. Just give me a queen one time, Chris.
Never again for the rest of your life?
Just
The
this
third
one.
card.
One?
It's paint, but a king.
A little excitement with that card there. Saw his heart jump.
Only a queen knocks out Mars Callahan.
The river card, the 5 of hearts.
Backwards.
Callahan survives. It's nice when aces do their job.
Still alive, boys. The old junkie's still alive.
He's the director of the 2002 film Pool Hall Junkies and the upcoming Poker Junkies.
And up for the day is Mars Callahan. But a hit to John Moore down to 214,000.
Don't get me over 500 because I'll be dangerous. Don't get me over 500.
The 2011 World Series of Poker is presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. And in part by WSOPacademy.com. Instant online training from world champions is just a click away.
Welcome back to Las Vegas and to Rio for Day 5 coverage of the World Series of Poker main event. Things get more serious with every passing level of this main event. And on everyone's list, of course, is making the final table. To the outer table of Max Heinzelman in the yellow and black shirt as his two pair 8s and 5s, trying to knock out Nathan Goldstein, who has just a pair of 5s, and he's looking for a 9 to fall on the river.
I believe Max Heinzelman came straight from a Lion King audition to play poker today.
All right, the river card. 10 of diamonds, and Goldstein will look for an exit or a cash game in the next room. He's done.
You ever miss a flop? You ever missed a flop?
Running pretty good. There you go.
Honest answer. No, I never miss a flop. I'm Max Heinzelman. When he crippled Sean Deeb, I told you he was going to win the main event.
Heinzelman working his way towards 2 million chips right now. Goldstein from Rosemont, Pennsylvania, earns over $35,000 for his second career World Series cash. As we head over to our secondary featured table, a look at those chip counts. Manoj Viswanathan has a firm lead on the other 8 players. Second best here, though, comes up about 500,000 short. Pull it over to Scott Schwalik with Queen 9 off.
He's a 24-year-old poker pro with a finance degree from Wright State University.
Lives in Beaver Creek, Ohio. 24-year-old. And he's going to raise it up to 23,000. The blinds at 5 and 10,000. Now to Manoj Viswanathan. Queen 5 of clubs.
He's our MIT grad / lawyer. You know, you become the chip leader by treating Queen 5 suited like they're pocket kings.
Well, speaking of kings, a very organized Swiss player, Stefan Huber, has those pocket kings.
And unfortunately for Viswanathan, Queen 5 suited is Queen 5 suited, and pocket kings are pocket kings.
And word of Manoj's style of play has been no secret in the Amazon room. A call from Huber and his kings.
Huber will try to trap the lawyer. I like that concept.
Schwalik folded, so heads up. A big stack and a real hand. Jack 4-6-1 club. Huber's kings are unthreatened, and he checks.
He will slow play his kings.
He knows Viswanathan will often VPIP.
Manoj majored in VPIP at MIT.
And here he goes with a backhand bet of 120,000.
Oh, this is what got Viswanathan here, and this is what likely will take Viswanathan away from here. You start to think you're invincible, and usually the cards catch up to you.
Norman, it looks like Hooper's using the installment plan to make this call.
Well, there's a lot of one-armed bandits at this main event.
All right, now the 120 is in from Hooper, and these two will see a turn card.
I still like the hat.
Turn card now. 9 of clubs. Hooper's still good, but his opponent just picked up a flush draw, and Hooper checks again. And
picking up an actual draw has got to excite Manoj.
Absolutely. Looking down at his stack. Now, double-fisted. This is Manoj's M.O., a bet of 250,000.
Manoj is like a trial lawyer trying to make a closing argument, but I think Huber ain't buying it.
Huber, 4-1 advantage with the kings. And here he comes with those yellows.
And more one-arm chip maneuvering a la Patrick Poirier.
Again, the installment call here from Stefan Huber.
Boy, Huber might be slow playing these kings into oblivion.
All right, so 250,000 from each player on the turn. The pot approaching 1 million. The river card. Deuce of hearts, a third heart on board, but Manoj was looking for a club.
Yeah, the flush got there. No one's got it.
Huber checks, and a check from Viswanathan.
9 first.
Yep, the kings are good for Huber.
Viswanathan bluffs off more than 20% of his stack, and the 25-year-old Swiss pro is grateful.
He has now more than 1.3 million chips.
It might take him another orbit to get his chips realigned.
Well, this full-time student from Switzerland just took the chip leader to school. Let's check in with bracelet winner Antonio Esfandiari for some pro analysis on that last hand.
In this hand, Viswanathan decides to 3-bet the original raiser. Huber in the big blind wakes up with 2 kings and decides to only call This is a very crazy slow play because he doesn't have position with 2 kings. Personally, if I slow play 2 kings, I'm always going to have position. And the reason for that is because I want to be able to control the size of the pot. You can't do that out of position. It ends up working out for Huber. In the end, he makes maximum value, but he took a big risk doing so. And sometimes that risk is not worth the reward. In this case, it worked out.
Thank you.
Huber won a big event in the Bahamas earlier this year. It was worth over $300,000 to him. He is certainly on a nice roll here at the main event. The current bust-out paycheck is up to more than $35,000. Fewer than 40 poker tables in play right now. At an outer table, poker pro Brian Devonshire hoping his pocket tens are strong enough to beat the ace-king suited of Timothy Adams, who's all in pre-flop.
We play rock, paper, scissors instead or something.
Devonshire, a 29-year-old Las Vegas pro. He was a former whitewater rafting guide. We both applied for that same position. He got it.
The flop is 7, 6, 8, 2 spades.
Wow. You must have been fired by Full Tilt Poker or something. Online flop.
It's an online flop live, and it's still a race.
Turn card 2 of clubs. The man they call Devo still good with his pocket tens.
Devo trying to dodge 14 outs.
The river card, is one of those outs. Adams spikes an ace to double up through Devonshire.
Adams, a 25-year-old Canadian pro, now healthy with over 100 big blinds.
He waited until the last moment to ensure his survival. Devo was safe through the flop and turn, but the former rafting guide found trouble on the river.
I came here prepared to take one hit. So if it happens, good luck to you.
Well, that was a year ago. Jean-Robert Belland on the verge of a monster stack, stung by the River King. He finished 78th last year in the main event, and he's poised for another deep run here.
Who is this guy?
I told you, Patrick Coughlin. Both he and Hayden Fortini know purple is the new black. Ace-8 off of Fortini from Fort Lauderdale, a raise to $23,000. Robinson knows about purple. To Belland now. And Jean-Robert with the Jack Link's beef jerky wildcard hand, Norman.
I'm feeling purple.
And from the big blind, he calls.
He's in the big blind, like I know. B, Jack 10 suited.
The flop is trade 10-4. Belland checks to the razor. Fortini checks to the checker.
We learned nothing there. It's like my entire sophomore year in high school.
8 of spades on the turn.
If Jean-Robert had 10s, I think he would have bet them on the flop.
He checks again. Fortini picked up a pair of 8s.
He's a Florida poker pro instructor at Deep Stacks University, where I believe Mike Matiso is a provost.
He says enough checking, $27,000.
Fortini likes second pair top kicker.
Belland with a check raise to $85,000.
I don't think he check raised the turn on a draw or with pocket 5s, and I still think he would have bet with a pair of 10s on the flop. Actually, maybe he has 10-4 in slow play 2 pair. Did he really call pre-flop with 10-4 suited? He was in the big blind.
Call for $58,000 from Fortini with second pair. River card, 7 of diamonds. That's no help to Fortini.
I originally had Jean-Robert on Jack 10, but that just doesn't add up to me.
He checked the flop, check raised the turn. And now he bets $120,000.
I guess he slow played 10s and 4s, or it's some bizarre Byzantine bluff. Yeah, Byzantine.
So to Fortini now, who looks a bit confused.
Yeah, look, he's trying to get his body in sync with his mind and figure the whole thing out. I don't know what Jean-Robert has.
Fortini would need more than half his stack to make this call.
I call.
But he does call. Jean-Robert shows 10-4 for 2 pair, winning the Jack Link's beef jerky wild card hand.
Do I get half credit for finally getting it right down the stretch?
Half it is.
Tough blind to steal, boys. Good luck. My big blind.
I'll take the 10-4 suited.
Is that the lesson from that hand, Bobby?
I'm just telling you, I'm stubborn.
You know what? I'm going to go heads up for 2 position versus 10-4 suited.
I'll call a 3-bet all in with King Jack.
Hockey, my skills. What can I say?
I'll call a raise with 10-4 in the big blind. Good luck trying. I got chips.
Not complaining. This looks very good. Thank you.
We cool.
The range is wide, he's saying.
The way I figure it is, the good thing about playing hands like 10-4 is if you flop 2 pair, how will they know? You know what I mean? How are they going to put you on that?
And all you got to do is flop 2 pair, because that happens all the time.
This is what I've been doing wrong all these years.
As we swing away from the featured table, take a look at the chip count of Patrick Poirier, the one-time chip leader, down to almost 300,000. On the outer tables, we find Daniel Ritalik with just an open-ended straight draw, trailing the pair of queens held by Amanda Musumeci. After the turn, Ritalik, who sits with 1.7 million, bets 151,000.
You see that Amanda's coffee cup top is off. The chance for a spill matches her hand percentage.
Amanda started the hand with $1.2 million, and she's going to make this call.
Ritalik, a 23-year-old pro from Morrisville, Pennsylvania.
Musumeci ahead, going to the river, another jack. So Musumeci's queens up are best. Ritalik checks.
He misses and gives up.
And Amanda checks back and shows the best hand. Ritalik opts not to show, but he'll have to give away his chips.
Amanda got the better of Kevin Saul, you may recall, on day 3. And the 26-year-old pro has kept her chips since.
Amanda with almost $800,000 in online winnings. This will be her 4th cash of this year's World Series, and it will be her biggest of the summer. Let's get back to the featured table.
Yeah, I asked him, I just make a policy never to listen to players, only the director or the dealer.
No, that's fine. Well,
you know,
he told you that.
I mean, a great player told me never to listen to players, so I've never have.
Yeah.
Is it good advice or bad
No, it's
advice?
fine. Yeah, I'm just saying he agreed
If a player told you that, then how do you know to trust him?
That's true. You shouldn't have listened to the player who told you not to listen to the player.
Exactly.
He's the one that's messing with your head.
And he's a great player.
That was good. That's like one of those riddles.
Yeah, it's a paradox.
Like
Great is relative. Who's this great player?
Bill Hellmuth Jr.
And several of my poker playing friends, every one of them agree. So,
Well, once again,
is it good advice or
back in
bad
that same
advice?
conundrum.
Is it
Talked and folded over to Rupert Elder with Queen Jack of Spades, a raise to 20,000.
altercations? I'm telling
Who
you,
is this guy? I'm mesmerized.
I think he's a BG.
This is like a regular thing, I guess.
Pocket sevens for Fortini.
All in.
He's short stack, known as Nipsum, online on all-in raise to 95,000.
Oh, yeah,
That was a fail.
Fortini down to under 10 big blinds.
Back to Elder now.
I call.
He makes the call.
He's been called with Queen High. He has 7-7 high.
Thank you, Daniel. Elder and Fortini truly in a coin flip for all of Fortini's chips.
What, are they going to take out a coin?
It's just an expression. All right, here's the flop. And there's a queen for Elder to push Fortini to the brink.
Elder in great position to knock out the 21-year-old.
You should not listen to any of the players except me.
He's been on TV. What do you want?
Turn card. 9 of spades is no help to Fortini.
Fortini's got to hit a 2-outer or he's gone.
The river card is another 5, and Elder's 2-pair outflanks Fortini's 2-pair, and Hayden gone from this main event. Elder up to 860,000.
Can we get a fish with a lot of chips right here? A fish with a lot of chips right here, please.
Fortini earns over 35,000 bucks.
He was a kid with a dream.
His second and biggest career World Series cash.
Come on. I call.
Oh, yeah.
That was a fail.
I'm getting in. I like him.
Welcome back to the World Series of Poker main event presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. And you see Eric Lindgren extending his first main event cash.
Lindgren running good this year. First marriage, first main event cash.
To Douglas Gord, whose queens are trying to knock out the 10s of Mars Callahan.
I haven't used my one time yet. I have not used my one time
The thing
yet.
for you is everything's held up.
This is it.
I guess this is the time.
One time.
He needs it. Callahan way behind. The turn card is a 10, and Callahan turns trips.
A disgusted Gord. He's going to need a queen now to knock out Mars Callahan.
And now the river card is the 5 of clubs, and Callahan's main event run will continue.
Acting like a little kid who just used his one time.
Gord knocked down to 120,000.
Need a sprint there. Get below 3. I hit a 10 on. I hit trips on that turn.
I love it. That is so cool.
Oh my God.
So this Hollywood amateur will stick around here on day 5, though he's lucky just to have made it to day 1.
My name is Mars Callahan, and I'm a writer-director. I was nominated for an ESPY in 2003 for a movie called Pool Hall Junkies. It's a great dream come true situation. About 9 years ago, I had a big, huge tumor in my kidney. They gave me 2 weeks to live. In life, you know, sometimes the flop can be pretty brutal. But they didn't wait for the turn in the river yet. They didn't read the book on Mars Callahan. I spent 3 years in and out of ICU and 5 years in a wheelchair. I've only been walking for about 3 years now. And so I came back, and now I'm here, and we're doing pretty good.
Pool Hall Junkies is fun to watch. Chaz Palminteri, Christopher Walken, Rod Steiger, Rick Schroeder, and it stars Mars as a pool hustler.
Short stack no longer. Callahan with 657,000 chips. Nearby, Elia Lesser with pocket eights. Re-raised Kenny Shee all in. Shee in a cowl hat called with ace-jack-off suit.
I tell you, any movie Elia Lesra is in, I'd go see.
Absolutely. Here's the flop. It is 7-8 deuce, a set for Lesra.
You need a 9 or 10 to do
a 9.
She needs runner.
Just put a deuce and get it over with, huh?
Turn card is a 10. She with a little hope.
Give me a 9, please. Never easy. 4 outs.
And the river card. And look at that. She hits the runner.
Wow.
He'll double up with a straight.
I know they always give you a sweat, so.
Oh, yeah. He didn't even see those outs. He announced them.
Oh, my God. That's sick. I've been running really good this summer.
Wow.
That's, oh, wow. Oh, man.
She went from 2% on the flop to 9% on the turn to 100% still in the main event.
And almost 600,000 chips. So Kenny Shee will stick around. At another table, our Brooklyn buddy, Nachman Berlin, is all in for 351,000 with ace-king of hearts. Peter Feldman leads with pocket queens and hoping he can soon own Berlin's stack.
Berlin wants to capture his bust out on his phone. If it's in HD, we can use it.
Where do I get the payout?
Has Nachman Berlin already given up?
Let me grab my jacket.
Boy, he knows all the get your affairs in order all-in trick.
So it will be Peter Nordberg Feldman versus Nachman Amarillo Slim Berlin.
I got hearts, too.
Berlin at risk. No ace, no king, no heart.
Oh, my God. No sign of any help. Oh, no. If you don't get on the flop, it never comes in the turn.
Never.
Ever. Not once.
Never, ever. Not once.
Game, guys.
Turn card. Queen gives Feldman a set.
Am I drawing dead?
Berlin has a Broadway draw.
Oh, I have outs? Some outs? Wow, it's just a jack. I'll never get that lucky. It's a pleasure playing with you guys.
The river is a blank, and Feldman prevails. Nachman Berlin, just a main event memory.
Why?
What a sweat for Feldman.
I wonder if he was trying to trap Feldman with the ace king.
Berlin had a productive World Series, a second-place finish, and this cash. Peter Feldman over 1.3 million. Beware of this guy when he has chips.
Nordberg always seems focused.
One race for everything. For the whole thing. For everything.
It was for everything or 315th place?
Grab him. I just busted. Ace king versus queens.
Ace king versus queens? What'd you have?
What difference does it make, really?
I want to know.
I had the ace king of hearts.
And to add a little salt to the wound, he runs into his feature table nemesis, Dwayne Alexander. Well, the big wheel keeps on turning, and somehow the main event will manage to carry on without Nachman Berlin. The largest 8-game mixed tournament in history was won by John Manette, who took down the $2,500 buy-in event and nearly $280,000 in prize money.
It's a goal of all poker players, and to finally accomplish it, it feels really good.
And in the $5,000 no-limit hold'em shootout, it was Canadian Mark Radoja who won the bracelet. He hails from Guelph, Canada, home to fellow bracelet winner Gavin Smith, as well as accomplished pros Mike Timex McDonald and Stephen Paul Ambrose. Radoja picked up close to $500,000 for his win, but the top 8 at the main event will double that. A staggering first-place prize of $8.7 million on the line for our remaining 301 players. The current payout is still $35,000 plus, and the chip leader right now is German Max Heinzelmann. All right, let's get back to the featured table, and this was a tough table. It just got tougher. In seed 1 is 5-time bracelet winner Alan Cunningham.
This is his 4th main event cash in 6 years.
Allen joins the table with a below-average chip stack. Action is folded to Jean-Robert Ballon. Queen, 4 of spades, a raise to 24,000.
All Jean-Robert needs to do with that type of hand is flop 2 pair, and no one will put him on queen 4.
To Chicago poker pro Robert Lipkin in the small blind. His king-queen is worthy of a call. Negreanu folds, so heads up Lipkin has Ballon dominated.
Lipkin learned to play poker as a kid in friends' basements. That's what basements are for.
All right, here's the flop now. 9 Jack King, top pair and a gut shot for Lipkin, who is the short stack at this table. Lipkin checks. Ballon with the same gut shot, checks as well. Turn card is a 10. Both hit their king high straight. Ballon has also added a flush draw. Lipkin.
This is his 3rd main event cash in 5 years. That's hard to do.
The best he can do here is chop the pot. He bets 36,000.
Jean-Robert earlier turned 10-4 into gold. Now he's turned queen 4 into half a gold, maybe all gold.
And here's a raise of 100,000 more.
They both have the same straight, but Ballon has a redraw to the flush.
Ballon with the biggest stack at this featured table going against the shortest stack.
I'm all in.
All in re-raise from Lipkin. 283,000 total.
How much more is that? I don't think I can lay my hand down.
Only ace-queen beats Jean-Robert, plus he still can make a flush. Of course he's calling here.
It's approximately how much?
40, 80, 120, 130, 140,
A lot acting like he's beat.
I have to call.
Jean-Robert does call. Lipkin at risk. He shows his hand. Ballon turns over his.
Have to call. Looked like he had like a pair of 9s or something.
I thought it was sad.
I thought it looked like he had ace-queen.
I'm pretty sure, he doesn't flop the ace-queen pretty.
I don't think I've ever won in a free roll spot like this. World Series 2012? I've never won in a free roll spot with one account like this.
Jean-Robert not at risk, cannot lose it, somehow complaining.
But I never have. If this happens, this will be the first time. Maybe
That's
this is my year.
an excellent pre-moan. I love it. You're so due
Maybe
now.
this is my year.
Lipkin's got to dodge a spade.
Oh, yes! Yes! Ballon gets there with the flush.
Maybe it is his year.
And Ballon knocks out Robert Lipkin.
Another bad fortune, ugly ending.
I knew the pre-moan was going to work. All that moaning worked.
Didn't work for Berlin, it worked for Ballon.
Yeah, give me one round for excessive celebration, please.
I knew
Lipkin 430th in 07, 337th in 09, 300th this year.
No, when it looked like he really wanted to re-raise me pre, so ace-queen was within his range, you know?
Yeah, but he's going to do it.
Range.
Huh?
He's going to do it. He's never not figured it out.
That's why.
As we near the big money, we've seen players begging for their one time. We found out whether the poker community approves of that practice.
One time,
Come on, one time on TV. Don't let me get beat up on TV.
I think it's okay to say one time all the time.
It's really never okay to say one time. It's especially never okay if you've ever won the main event or have ever had any success in poker to say one time. If you've ever won a tournament before, you can't say one time because you already had your one time.
Give me one time. It's definitely annoying when people are like, one time, like before they even look down at their hand, you know, like if somebody raises, somebody's all in, and then they're like, one time. That's not when you use your one time, you know? It's my one time right now. One time.
It doesn't matter how many times you've gotten the one time, you're still going to ask for one time, so I never want to be that guy.
Just give me a queen one time, Chris.
I have not used the one time.
Take one time. Just one time, that's it.
Honestly, I don't think it's ever okay to say one time.
It's always okay to say one time. There's one time for every hand you play.
This is it.
I guess this is the time.
One time.
People use it saying one time too much, but you're caught in that moment, and you don't worry about the other million times you've asked for one time. You said it 20 minutes ago, but poker players have selective memories.
I used my one time 8 years ago, Lon, and somehow you showed up.
Your one time is never part of the wedding vows, though, right?
Good for you.
At the outer table, a matchup that draws a lot of attention. The aces of Omar Saeed against the kings of David Bach.
Saeed, a 35-year-old investment manager.
And there's a king on the flop. Saeed all but done.
I hope David Bach doesn't get penalized for excessive celebration.
Gunslinger about to put another notch in his belt, flopping a killer set. Saeed looking for help. Turn card, Jack of Hearts. Saeed adds a Broadway draw.
Bach under so much stress.
Hey, is my one time here? Good time, guys. I think I'll use it right now.
He needs a one time now. Ace or queen?
Oh, a wasted one time for Saeed. Bach with kings full will send Omar Saeed to the rail.
We've seen David Bach bust a couple of players now while getting massaged. It just doesn't seem right.
He is getting used to stacking his winnings as he knocks out the 35-year-old Canadian who's now living in New York. Saeed off to the payout cage will earn over $35,000. David Bach is now up to more than 2.3 million chips. He is now the overall tournament leader in the 2011 main event. Soon, Omar Saeed will be pleased to have secured his first main event cash, but for now, the sting of elimination is almost too much to bear. Welcome back to the 2011 main event. Earlier, we spoke to Jean-Robert Belland about his big stack strategy.
A lot of people, when they have big stacks, you know, end up losing a good chunk of it with playing silly mistakes, doubling short stacks up for no reason. And that includes myself in that. But when you're in big stack mode and you're playing every pot, if you just start to release every time somebody plays back at you, you know, that's not going to work out either. So, you know, every once in a while you do have to take a stand, and that's going to mean that your big stack's a little volatile.
Jean-Robert's day is volatile from the time he wakes up until the time he finds someplace to sleep. He is a reality show.
Folded to Daniel Negreanu with pocket jacks, and Norman, I almost trust pocket jacks with Daniel as their caretaker. He raises to $22,000.
I've got to meet this guy, Lon. Everybody else here looks like they're applying for a job at a Radio Shack, but this guy with the blazer is blazing.
Now Belland.
I'll have a look.
10, 6 is... Oh. I almost said something about a hand. Oh, my gosh. Shoot me.
One orbit, please.
Daniel was warned early in the main event about discussing his hand. He took issue with that. Here's the flop. Ace, ace, 4. Belland said, I'll have a look, and then flops trips. And he's going to bet $30,000.
Daniel certainly might think his pocket jacks are still good.
So with the aces up and an 8-to-1 dog, he makes the call. Turn card is an 8 of clubs. Belland's still way ahead. He checks. Daniel checks. River card. Queen of hearts. Belland's trip aces are best. He's going to try to get more out of Daniel. $75,000.
See, now there's so many things I want to say that I can't say because I'll get in trouble. So I'll talk. I'm just going to talk about the fact that I can't talk right now. I can't talk through this hand. I'd love to talk through this hand and try to figure out exactly what to do. But that right has been stripped. So I can just talk about nonsense and make no sense and just gibberish.
He can't disclose the contents of his hand. He can do other talking.
There's so much good stuff I'm actually saying in my head right now that they'd love to hear. It's so cool, but...
I am currently under the same restriction from ESPN. Jean-Robert's stutter step has confused Daniel. He checked the turn, then bet the river. And, of course, the flush draw got there on the river.
Daniel gives up the jacks.
What?
I could hear it.
You could hear it in my head?
There are always voices in JR's head.
Well, whatever Daniel did not verbalize was wisdom we'll never hear, but it was correct to fold the pocket jacks, as it usually is. To an outer table, here's something you don't see every day. Heads up, and both players all in and at risk. With dead-even chip stacks are Mars Callahan and Lawrence Houghton. In the big blind, Callahan flopped 2 pair. Houghton with the nut flush draw.
They have the exact same stacks on day 5? That's a statistical improbability.
Turn card, 4 of spades, no help to Houghton.
Houghton, a 25-year-old British pro. He's got 6 World Series cashes up against the Hollywood director. One of these guys is not going to survive this hand. Houghton needs a diamond on the river, but it can't be the 2 of diamonds. Who's going to survive?
River card, the 6 of spades, and Callahan with a full house will be the one to survive. He doubles up. And Houghton knocked out of the 2011 main event.
And this Mars Callahan loves a big stage. He needs one.
Boy, he's getting his exercise today.
Over $1 million chips.
He's a poker junkie with chips.
Callahan working very hard not to collect an excessive celebration penalty. He is now in the game with a whole bunch of chips. while Lawrence Houghton will say his goodbyes. Callahan refusing to go away from this main event.
Thank you.
He sits with over 1 million and going strong.
The 2011 World Series of Poker is presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. And in part by WSOPacademy.com. Instant online training from world champions is just a click away.
Back at the Rio, fewer than 300 players remaining. David Bach is the chip leader with 2.4 million. Let's go back to the table of the unstoppable Mars Callahan with king-queen suited. He and two others about to see the flop. Kyle Johnson on the left, leading with pocket nines, and there is Vasily Sapko with ace-queen. Here's the flop. It is king 7-8. Callahan hits top pair. Sapko with ace-queen missed it.
Well, Sapko keeps the top on his coffee cup, but he's willing to risk chips.
He does lead out, 135,000. Johnson and his pocket nines fold. Now to Callahan.
Callahan flopping top pair. Boy, the Mars Callahan variety hour continues. It does feel like Mars is on a free roll of sorts.
Callahan, over 1 million chips, has twice that of Sapko and more.
Any cocktails?
All in.
And Mars attacks.
And when he tucks that cap down, he's serious.
This would put Sapko all in, and Sapko will give it up.
And Sapko, I believe, is calling over an associate to whack Mars Callahan.
What did you start today with?
151,000.
That is true. More than a tenfold increase for Callahan playing fearless poker.
If Mars Callahan were smart, he'd make this into a movie.
Well, with almost 1.7 million chips, he's got gunslinger David Bach, the current chip leader, in his sights. At another table, Aussie Tony Hashem leads with pocket sixes and an open-ended straight flush draw.
I've been playing well, so I deserve it. I can't believe that call.
Some Hashem attitude, it runs in the family.
In the white, Tuan Vo called all in.
Can't believe the call.
We've seen Vo play fast and loose. He's at risk.
Okay, yes, yes.
Hashem hits a six-high straight.
All right, come on. Nothing stupid, just a red card. A red card, please. Please. Get your card. Yes!
Hashem wins it and eliminates Tuan Vo.
Can't believe that call, man.
Third time he's told him that. I expect him to send Vo a postcard that just says, "Can't believe you called."
Look at that, 700. What happened? Did you have a brain snap? Can't believe you called.
Can't believe you called, the Tony Hashem story. I can't believe Vo gets knocked out and has to listen to this.
Tuan Vo swallows the bitter pill and suffers the criticism and will take his leave. Hashem up to almost 1.3 million.
I talk a lot about winning with grace and losing with grace. I don't think we just saw grace.
As we get back to the featured table, you see the chip counts of 3 former chip leaders. The one that stands out, Patrick Poirier, under 100,000.
Tupper Lake drying up.
All right, at the featured table, Daniel Negreanu with 477,000 chips, still under the chip average, but it is 47 big blinds. Pull it over to the man in the electric blazer, Coughlin with pocket nines.
Now we get a good look at him. I'm told he's wearing the blazer because his mom is watching and he wants to look nice for her. That gets my seal of approval.
A 28-year-old from Los Angeles raises to 24,000. Folded around to Balan. Balan gives it up. Now to Cunningham with pocket deuces.
Allen is wearing that shirt because he bought it 3 months ago and can't find the receipt.
Cunningham on the button.
Nobody left in the main event field has more bracelets than Allen Cunningham, 5.
Cunningham calls with the deuces. Queen 10 for Negreanu in the big blind.
Queen 10 off.
24.
That's like a woman you know you shouldn't date.
He does make the call. He got a discount. So it'll be Coughlin and 2 former World Series Players of the Year.
I still think Coughlin's mom would like the haircut.
There's the flop. Deuce 9 king. Coughlin flops a set of nines. Allen a set of deuces. A gut shot for Daniel. He checks.
Coughlin says when he made the money here, his table had a round of beers, and it was the best beer he's ever tasted.
Absolutely. With top set, he bets 38,000.
Allen's got to believe he has the best hand.
With bottom set, he does not.
Cunningham, of course, made the main event final table in 2006, the Jamie Gold year.
But Norman, if he keeps putting chips in with a 4% hand, he's not going to get back to that final table. Daniel folds. So heads up Coughlin and Cunningham. Turn card down. Is another deuce quads for Cunningham. How does he do it?
And poor Patrick Coughlin's just tasting a huge pot right now with nines full.
And I imagine Norman, in his mind, he's hoping not to scare off Allen. He bets 95,000.
I'll tell you, Lon, Allen's got to believe he has the best hand.
You think? I think he's so smart he knew he was going to get the best hand. Just a call from the quad deuces.
Wow, what a blow in progress for Patrick Coughlin.
Yeah, you look at the percentages. Only the case 9 would save Coughlin from disaster, but it's a 10 of clubs, third club on board.
Coughlin all dressed up for his mom. He flopped the best hand, turned a full house. He doesn't deserve this. This Allen Cunningham is ruthless.
I'm all in.
And that's what Allen Cunningham was waiting for.
I call.
Show him the quads, Allen.
Wow. Cunningham double checks he has the nuts, and Coughlin is broadsided. Boy, he could never have seen that coming.
Allen Cunningham doubles up. Coughlin looks stupefied as he loses over 60% of his chips.
At least he still got chips, but that was brutal, brutal, brutal.
That's nuts.
Perhaps those quads could be Allen's launching pad towards another main event final table. Woo! Some of tonight's Day 5 action was from another planet.
Over 1 million chips.
Long shots and one-times came in like they were the favorites.
Maybe this is my year.
For Jean-Robert Ballon, one hand had him thinking one thing.
Yes!
The bracelet. For Norman, Chad, and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarran. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.